Hey Gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and this is the all-new Trailsport version of the 2022 Honda Passport. This is Honda's full-size two-row SUV, done up for some mild off-road duty, and Honda was gracious enough to loan us this vehicle for the Labor Day weekend. So what is this vehicle like for a family road trip to the beach, and how does it hold up? Stay tuned to find out. Starting under the hood, you get Honda's legendary 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6, which actually produces 280 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. It's mated to a 9-speed automatic transmission and does have Honda's advanced four-wheel drive capability on this one, but it is a front-wheel drive biased platform. We'll talk more about the all-wheel drive while we're driving it, but as far as this engine goes, it actually does fairly well for a 3.5 liter V6 when it comes to fuel economy. 19, 24, 21 are the numbers on this particular model, and I can prove that out with over 1,200 miles on the odometer since I picked it up. We're averaging right at 24 mpg. Again, most of that has been highway mileage, but it is really true to the sticker on that. Closing the hood, you can really appreciate the updated styling for the 2022 model year. All Honda light-duty pickup trucks and SUVs are going with this new style, which features a more squared-off front grille. And on this Trailsport model, you get this black wing design up front. Really classy look and more masculine than the outgoing 2021 model, and looks just like the Honda Ridgeline that we had here on the channel not that long ago. What makes this one truly special as a Trailsport model is, well, you get an orange Trailsport badge here in the front and a little different styling for the Trailsport model to give it a little more rugged appearance up front here. You do get LED headlights that are automatic high beam, which proved to be very good on my long road trip here. You do get low incandescent turn signals here, so that's an interesting choice for an updated 2022 model, still using incandescent. And then way down here, you do get LED fog lights. All around, a very handsome look up front, but what really makes this Trailsport model special is around on the side. Which brings us to the special wheels and tires for this Trailsport model. These are 245/60 18-inch Firestone Destination LE mild off-road tires. This is a more on-road focused version of the same tire that came on my wife's 2014 Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk model. So there is some off-road capability to these tires, and they actually proved to be rather quiet on the road as well. They are a really good tire, and then these 18-inch wheels are exclusive to the Trailsport model. If these aren't enough for you, you can opt for the HPD bronze package, much like those bronze wheels we had on the Ridgeline not too long ago here on the channel, which gives you more aggressive side cladding here and naturally those bronze wheels that I think actually give this vehicle a little more pop and pizzazz. Moving to the full side profile, you can really see the Honda Pilot roots here on this Passport. With the doors forward, it's essentially a Honda Pilot. Everything back here is unique to the Passport because this really is just a shortened version of that Honda Pilot without that third row seat, and really a more compact package, which lends itself really well to this Trailsport model because it gives you a more maneuverable, smaller vehicle when you're hitting those trails, of which, the name implies that you will be doing. This has been a really fun vehicle and has been really appropriately sized for my family of 3. The doors open really wide and allow for getting Tucker in and out very easily. And then this does have Honda's passive entry and the push button to lock here on both the front doors, making it really easy to get in and out of as a family loading him up. But let's take a look at the back, because that's really the spot that wowed me more than anything. Moving back to the very back, you get typical Honda styling here. Nothing really unique to the Trailsport model, except maybe this Trailsport badge and some more rugged looking styling down below, but really this is a Honda Passport, which there's nothing bad about that. This does have a power lift gate with a very low handle. I really wish Honda would put the release up here, because when you've been driving on the road for 1,100, 1,200 miles, that can get really dirty being down that low. But look at this rear storage compartment. This thing is massive. From the first moment I opened this hatch, I was just blown away with how much storage space is back here. This is really set to compete against the likes of the Nissan Murano or the Chevy Blazer, and being the Trail Sport model, this really has more off-road intention than the Chevy Blazer ever did. But the on-road usability of this, being able to load this up with gear for my entire family to hit the road down to the beach, I was truly impressed with the storage space back here. And then add on top of that, you get underfloor storage back here as well. So you can throw some dirty stuff, because it is hard plastic and can be cleaned out very easily. But because of the foam nature of this panel right here, even though I had metal tent stakes down here that should have rattled the entire trip, I never heard them. Just a hidden feature I never expected on this Passport. Give this a nice firm little tug and lift up. That's where you will get your spare tire, and there's even more underfloor storage down below that. So there really is a lot of rear storage space back here. And then you have two electronic releases for the fold flat second row seat. So you can open this up to just over 100 cubic feet of storage space. This really is a great vehicle for hitting the trails or hitting the road. I really like it. One thing I would caution against is I'm 5'10", and this is the max opening height of the rear hatch. So in my 1960s house, I was a little worried about the opening inside our garage, but underneath my head, if you're 6 foot, you may be bunking your head on this just a little bit, and then you have your button to close it right there. Moving into the Honda Passport, you can really see the platform sharing that is going on here. This is identical to the Ridgeline that we have already tested here on the channel, and identical to the Pilot, on which both of these vehicles are based, which is not a bad thing. It's a really well laid out cabin, but dating all the way back to 2016, it is a little bit dated. The color touchscreen up here is a little on the small side by modern standards. I believe it's 8 inches. Does really well. It's really snappy. It is a wired Apple CarPlay unit, even though there is a Qi wireless charger down here. Makes for really simple ease of use up here, and you do actually get a volume button, so I like that a lot. You do get some interesting storage here. On the Trail Sport model, you only get 3-mode heated seats, and to step up to the Elite trim to get cooled seats. I really like the tri-zone climate, so you get dual zone up here and then rear climate. Even though they aren't roof mounted vents, you do get a rear climate control up here for the passengers in the back. There are no passenger controls back here, but I think that's okay in this model. I think Honda will probably update that when they update this vehicle. You get the push button gear selector, which isn't my favorite because it still takes up just as much room as if you had a lever or something more traditional, but 1,200 miles, I've gotten used to that. Dual cup holders here, and then you get these adjustable armrests that can be moved out of the way or ratcheted right into place, which I had to get used to actually leaving down, because hopping in the vehicle, I tend to come in hot and try and land on the center console, which doesn't really exist because you have this low roller opening here. That actually proved to be very good on a road trip, because we were able to put our snack bag right here and get to that very easily. I really liked it. You do have this glowing engine start stop button, so you just put your foot on the brake and start it up right there. Typical Honda controls here, a little bit dated infotainment or driver information screen. You do get an analog fuel gauge and temperature gauge, but your tach and speed are all digital in the middle, and you can configure through a few more things up there but we'll get into that while driving. You do have a normal sized manual sunshade, but power operated sunroof up here. You do get a sunglass holder here that would also house the mirror for my rear passengers, but again, you have to go to the Elite model for that. Very simple front seat accommodations here, but let's move on to the back and see what the back seat is like. Moving to the back row, there is a lot of space back here. I'm sitting behind myself at 5'10". I have plenty of room. You have 2 cup holders here in the door, which I really like, and 2-tiered storage, again, which I really like. A lot of storage options back here. You do get manual sunshades, which I feel are a must on a family vehicle nowadays, especially having a young child myself. When the sun is just beating down here, those aftermarket ones just don't cut it. And then because this is based on a 3-row SUV, you do get a slight recline here with the second row seats. So it can be rather comfortable back here. Seat firmness is not too hard, not too soft. It's actually really nice. And then hopping out, that same lever can be used to fold the seats flat and allow you to access more storage back here from that aspect as well. You don't have to pull the lever to fold them up, and these seats do actually scoot forward and back. You do get a center armrest that folds down in between the 2 passengers, so a lot of useful touches back here in the second row. Hopping in the Passport, again, I already mentioned how much it is like the Ridgeline and Pilot on which it is based, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. With that 3.5 liter V6, you get the power right when you need it because there is no turbo lag or anything of the like. It is a very well-sized and well-powered 3.5 liter V6 with 280 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque. And that torque can go to all 4 wheels. Yes, this is a front drive bias platform. Again, shared with the Pilot, shared with the Ridgeline, and even shared with the Odyssey minivan. But that does not discredit this from being a good vehicle and even a capable vehicle when the situation gets treacherous or when you venture a little too far off the road. Because you do get a drive mode button down here that allows you to select between 4 different drive modes for that all-wheel drive system. So you get normal, snow, mud, and sand, which adjusts where the power goes, how much slippage is allowed, and what is done with the traction control system in this, whether it's on or off, and how much wheel slippage it really allows. I can say leaving this in normal, going through the torrential downpours that we experienced when coming back from the beach, and honestly going to the beach, this thing made me feel very confident in its driving characteristics and behavior. And this driver information system here does have an all-wheel drive torque screen that shows you exactly where the power is being sent, which was actually a little fun to watch as the front wheels needed a little extra help from those back wheels driving through those torrential downpours. I cannot say enough about how good this all-wheel drive system was on-road, and I can imagine it would be just as good off-road. Unfortunately, because this really was built for an on-road family-style road trip, we didn't get too much off-road experience in this one. But again, this is not the most rugged off-roader that money can buy. And speaking of money, at nearly $45,000, this model is competing with some interesting other vehicles that we've tested here on the channel. The Kia Sportage, while technically competing in the compact class down below this, really where the Honda CR-V lies, has grown a lot over the years and has become rather large on the inside and outside as well. And the X Pro version we tested stickered for about the same as this and featured a few more off-road goodies, including an increased ride height and a locking differential, meaning this one really is more of a soft roader or light duty off-roader because you don't get any locking differentials. I can't determine or mandate that torque automatically go to those rear wheels. I can just tell it, hey, situations might get a little rough, be ready. Another vehicle this would compete against is the Kia Sorento. And again, we had the SX Prestige, top of the line, as nice as you can get, which did have heated and ventilated seats, which kind of puts these heated only in a slight disadvantage when it comes to the luxury features. And that Kia Sorento did have a bonus third row of seats and a panoramic sunroof. It is a much more modern vehicle than this one, which again dates back to 2016. The fact that the real off-road goodies of this, the things that really make this trail sport a trail sport, wheels and tires, all-weather floor mats, which are perfect for a family with a young child, whether you're going off-road or not. I've absolutely adored these all-weather rubber floor mats. They have come in handy, especially going to the beach, helping capture all that sand. And then these black leather seats with the orange stitching and the orange ambient lighting in here. That's really all that makes this a trail sport. Not much else distinguishes it from the other trim levels. Now, this all-wheel drive system is essentially Acura's super handling all-wheel drive, which in that aspect is really more for on-road performance, but translating to off-road performance, again, makes sure that you get the traction to the wheels that need it and that can keep you moving forward. Same principles apply, and with the 4 drive modes, you really can prep the vehicle for what kind of situation that you are heading into. As far as on-road comfort, I have put 1,200 miles on this exclusively on the road in many different conditions, mostly on the highway, yes, through some city, and through a lot of rain and on-road water, and this platform held up tremendously. Did mention those Destination LE tires are more aggressive off-road, but are quieter than the Destination ATs that came on my wife's 2014 Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk model. So while not as aggressive, they are also not as loud, and you can tell there is some road noise from it, but it's to be expected when you're buying the more off-road focused version of any vehicle. As far as visibility out of this vehicle, that is where Honda just absolutely excels, because they put that at the forefront of the design, actually being able to see out of the vehicle, and the visibility out of this one is great. From the quarter windows up here by the mirrors that house the blind spot monitoring, to the just overall generally large windows all the way around, visibility out of this is very good. And in those 1,200 miles on the road, I have never felt like there was a car hiding in my blind spot that I couldn't see, and I actually could see all the way around me. So I have found a little bit of dirt to test out the sand mode in this Honda Passport Trailsport. So let's put it in drive, see what it can do. Now, when you're in the loose stuff, momentum is your friend. So you just want to keep going, and that is really good because you really need traction at all 4 wheels to keep moving so you don't bog down in the loose stuff. Again, talking about the 4-wheel independent suspension in this, it really has done a very good job on-road for us, and it's doing a very good job here off-road for us. I will note there is no underbody protection on this Trailsport model, so that is something that you miss out on when going with a Trailsport versus opting for something a little more rugged from other brands like maybe Jeep. Yes, I would say that driving this around, no matter the road or off-road conditions, is a very confidence-inspiring vehicle. I just wish Honda had done a little bit more, but I guess we'll just have to wait for future Trailsport models for more off-road goodness from the Honda brand. I am very excited about what the future holds if this is their starting point. With that little bit of off-roading aside, that really brings me down to what you're actually going to cross-shop this against. And really, it is slated to go up very nicely against, as I mentioned earlier, the Nissan Murano and the Chevy Blazer. I think those are the two most equally designed, equally sized vehicles on the market that would most likely be cross-shopped against this Honda Passport. And in the Trail Sport trim, it has more off-road intentions than either one of those. Yes, you know, you could get that Kia Sorento with the locking center diff, or even the Kia Sportage in the X Pro model with additional ride height. But if you are looking for a big two-row SUV for your family and all your stuff with Honda's reliability, this is really a good place to be. This has proven to be an exceptionally unexceptional vehicle. And by that, I mean, as a 35-year-old gearhead, nothing just overwhelms me with excitement with this car. It's a Honda. It's built to be reliable and durable and last you forever. And none of that is really sexy when looking at the numbers or the performance, but actually getting behind the wheel of it and living with it, I have fallen in love with its comfort and ride quality and its capability. These seats have proven to be very good on long-haul road trips. I really like the adjustable armrest. The seating position is perfect. It is very much like sitting in a captain's chair. It's very comfortable for long hauls, which is really what you want a big family SUV for, right? And this really does well on fuel economy as well. Even though it has a naturally aspirated 3.5 liter V6, 24 mpg over 1,200 miles on the road, it's nothing to sneeze at. I was actually surprised at how far this thing could go and how cheaply it could do it. This is a good platform all the way around, and I've really been impressed with it. So much so that I would not be sad if this vehicle showed up in my driveway. I just don't know if I would actually shop this Trail Sport model or if I'd go for a few of the luxuries of that Elite trim and do the modifications to make my own Trail Sport. And that about concludes my time here with this 2022 Honda Passport Trail Sport. And my final thoughts on it are, I have actually come to love it a whole lot more than I thought I would. Sure, it is not the most rugged off-road and will not really compete with Trailhawk models from Jeep, but that's really not what this one is for. Even though Honda promises more rugged off-road versions in future models, this really is a light-duty off-roader, and I'm completely okay with that because those Firestone Destination LE tires matched with the very competent all-wheel drive system in this mean it is confident when the road gets treacherous due to torrential downpours or whatever the case may be, or when you want to hit the trails, of which this Trail Sport model is named, and go out on a fun camping adventure. This really isn't built for rock crawling or anything of the like, but you really don't want to take this thing out on those kind of adventures anyway. This footprint is really the size vehicle I would want for my family. I don't need the 3-row Pilot on which this is based. This really does fit my family quite well. There are just the 3 of us. If you want to see what my family thinks of this, be sure and hit the subscribe button down below and ring the bell so you're notified every time a new video drops. If you want to see what we're driving before it is here on YouTube, go find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, all at GT Garage Talk. You can find our award-winning podcast at gtgaragetalk.com or on your favorite podcasting platform. Just search for GT Garage Talk. But as for me, I'm gonna hop back in this and enjoy what little time I have left with something I've come to truly enjoy very much. Bye. I'm Corey, and thank you for coming into my shots, making a lot of noise, driving right by. The off-road focused two-row SUV from the Honda brand, and I don't like that. This isn't really gonna compare. I don't like any of that.